First vocabulary word this week is horrible. Horrible means something is really bad. I told you guys a story about how my husband put something in our trash can that smelled really bad. And after he did it, I was like, what is that horrible smell I smell coming out of our trash can? And it made me kind of wrinkle up my nose. I found a picture of somebody making the same face that I did, and we're going to import that and put it in here. But it made me want to almost throw up. It was just so bad. It was so horrible. Think of something you've smelled that was horrible. Maybe your little brother or little sister wears diapers, and they were stinky diapers, so bad. They smelled so horrible they made you want to throw up. Maybe you have a job to do at your house and it's taking out the trash, so you know how bad the trash can smell after it starts to rot. Stop the video and draw a picture of something that smells horrible. The next vocabulary word that we're going to draw is invigorated. I want to take a minute to look at the word invigorated first. And I want to make sure you all notice that suffix on the end, suffix ed, which means that it happened in the past. Keep that in mind since we're working on suffix ed and suffix ing this week. Recognize it when you see it in a word. Invigorated means that you are full of energy. If you're invigorated, you are pumped up. You are ready to go. Your eyes are wide awake. Maybe you just had a Red Bull or a Monster. Your hair might be all standing up because you're just so full of energy. I found a picture on the internet of some children who looked very invigorated, and I thought I would go ahead and bring that in and we could look at it. These kids are invigorated. They are full of energy. I also found a picture of a little boy doing something that many of you do when you first run out to recess. Running and jumping. It's full of energy. That's what you guys look like a lot of times when we go out to recess. It almost makes you feel invigorated when I say it's time to go to recess and you're free to run and play. Think about how you feel when you're going outside to recess and you're full of energy, you're invigorated. Draw a picture of how you look when you're going outside to recess now. The next vocabulary word is presented. Another word that has the suffix ed at the end. Remember that a suffix is a letter or a group of letters added to the end of a word coated with a box. That will help you sound out words like this when you see them. You can cover the suffix and know that you can learn to sound out just the base word. Presented means that something is given away. You gave it to them. I remember telling you the story about me being presented with a medal when I won a race. I thought of another time where something was presented to me recently. I was actually at a party, a birthday party, and it was my birthday party. I like my own birthday parties. I bet you guys too, because people present you with something at birthday parties. A lot of times they present you with presents. And this particular birthday party, my mom and dad gave me a big present with a bow on it. I was pretty happy because, well, who doesn't like to get presents? After I opened up my present, I found the coolest thing ever. I had a brand new iPad. And you guys know I like to use my iPad. So when they presented me with that iPad, they gave it to me, it made me super happy. I was pretty pumped, all right? Think of a time that you were given something. You were presented with a gift. Maybe it's your birthday party. Maybe you did something really good and your mom and dad presented you with a prize. Draw a picture of that now. The next vocabulary word is sweltering. Sweltering uses one of the suffixes we're learning this week. Suffix ing. A suffix is a letter or group of letters added to the end of a word. We code it with a box. Suffix ing means it's happening right now. The base word for this is swelter, and with it, the derivative is sweltering. Sweltering means that it is super, super duper hot. I told you guys about a story about when I went to Disney World this summer and how it was so hot. The sun was shining, and I thought, man, I am having a great time, but I am so hot. And my husband, he was slow. He was walking slow. But I had the coolest thing to keep me cool, and it's one of my favorite things to get at Disney. I had a Mickey Mouse ice cream cone. Boy, it makes me happy. Whenever I'm hot, ice cream helps make me feel cool. And my Mickey Mouse ice cream looks like a Mickey Mouse head with ears on it. And matter of fact, I looked on the internet and found a picture of the exact ice cream cone, the exact type of ice cream cone that I had. And I wanted to show it to you. See, it looks like a Mickey Mouse head. It is so good. It's vanilla ice cream, and it's cold. And so on a sweltering day, it is so nice to have that ice cream, if you can eat it before it melts. Think of a time that it was really hot somewhere you were. Maybe you guys went to the Parrot Island Splash Park this summer. Maybe you went to Six Flags. Maybe you went to Silver Dollar City. Think of some place you've been where it's really hot, and maybe you had a cold treat like I did. Think of a time like that and draw a picture of it now. The next vocabulary word is aid. To aid means to help. I told you about a time where I needed some help at my house. I have a big couch, and I wanted to move my couch so that it was closer to the TV. Well, it's so big that even though I was holding on and I was pushing on it, I could not move it. It was just way too hard. I strained, and it was just too big for me to do by myself. So I had to call someone to aid me. I needed someone to help me with moving the couch. So I called my friend Cherie. She's like super strong. And she came over, and within a few minutes, the two of us together, me and her aiding me, we were able to move the couch from one place to the next where I wanted it. Her help or her aid was what I needed to help move the couch. Help and aid are the exact same thing. Think of a time that you needed to maybe move something that was too big for you. Maybe you had to ask your mom or your dad to aid you. Maybe you asked a friend to aid you in moving it. Draw a picture of that now. Our last vocabulary word for Lesson 5 is persistent. To be persistent means to never, ever give up. I told you that when I was a little girl, as young as you guys, one of the things that I had to do was learn how to play the piano. And I told you it was not easy learning to play the piano. I remember days that I would have to go and practice. Every day I had to do some type of practice. And I got tired of practicing, to be honest. I would want to go play with my friends, and I'd have to practice the piano. But I was persistent. I made myself practice every day. I would come in, sit down on the piano, play my scales, and now I'm glad I did, because now I can play the piano quite well. A lot of you are doing something right now that requires persistence. A lot of you are learning to read. And learning to read is not easy either. You have to be persistent. When you come to a word you don't know in a book, you have to be persistent, and you have to try to sound out those words you see. Some of you are playing softball or baseball, and learning to play softball or baseball is something you have to be persistent in. You have to continually practice. You have to practice catching the ball. You have to practice hitting the ball. You have to practice throwing the ball. And it's not easy. That's why you have to practice all the time. You have to practice and be persistent to learn how to do it well. Think about something you want to learn to do well and how you're going to be persistent to learn that. Draw a picture of you showing persistence by never giving up and never quitting and practicing often.